Hey everyone, welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 316, recorded live on June 3rd, 2025. My name is Steve, and I'm here with Barry. Barry, how's it going, man?
Hey, Steve, it's how good to have you back. This time we lost Greg, though.
We
It's,
did,
can't
we
win.
did. I was gonna joke around that last time I saw you guys had a little trouble with the stream, and so we've fired Greg this week. No, just kidding, Greg. We love you. I just had to give you a little hard time, not because it took me like 10 times as long to edit this last podcast.
Yeah, so for those of you that didn't see last podcast, you didn't miss much. But poor Greg, he started the recording, and for the first beginning of the podcast, you couldn't hear Greg. You could hear me, but you couldn't hear Greg. So it sounded like I was talking to myself. And then when we went to the headlines, you couldn't hear either of us. And then after that, everyone could hear everything. So in post, poor Steve, Greg had to re-record his lines for the entire first half, and I had to re-record the headlines, and Steve had to put it all together. But what's funny is if you listen to it and you don't know that little bit of trivia, you probably won't even notice, or maybe you'll notice a little bit difference. But what I found funny is I had an entire conversation with Greg about Pokemon TCG Pocket, and for whatever reason, Greg never re-recorded his lines to that. So if you listen to it, it sounds like I'm going on for a very long time, and I apologize. I'm not talking to myself or I'm not trying to hog that time. I was literally having a conversation with Greg. You just won't hear that other part of the conversation, nor will anybody because he
Yeah.
never recorded it.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt bad because I was like, I could cut all this out, but what you're sharing was fun and engaging and exciting. But all I had was you. And so it was like I had to make that call. I'm like, do I cut out 15 minutes of good content about Pokemon, or do I just leave it in and make it look like Barry's just talking to himself the whole time?
So a little behind the scenes, but the
Yeah,
episode's out. We wanted to make sure we got more content for you and give you guys what you expect. And we did it.
we
It is
did.
a thing.
We
It's not
did.
our favorite episode, but it's a thing. It
It is a
exists
thing.
and it's out there.
That's right. But on this episode, we're gonna have a good conversation, and hopefully you are all hearing just as you should, and everything. Well, I guess we'll find out later. Or if you are,
Yeah.
we have a whole live chat that we have people joining us on both YouTube and Twitch. And so if you are in the live chat and you don't hear us, please let us know. But if you do hear us, be sure to join in all the conversations that we're going to have tonight on this episode. Speaking of which, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Music app updates, of course. There was a new Switch firmware update. We're going to be talking about the Indie JRPG showcase. Nvidia's CEO spoke up recently. We're going to talk about Summer Game Fest that starts this week. And of course, we're going to be diving into our Switch One memories here on the eve of the Nintendo Switch 2 launch. How crazy is that? So yeah, let's before we get into any of that, just a reminder: if you've never joined us live, again, be sure to comment and do that. We go live every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time, and we'd love to have you guys join in the conversation with us. Also, follow us on social media and join our Discord as well. All those links are going to be in the show notes and the YouTube description as well. So let's see. Let's move into what we have been playing, and just a heads up, Barry, you already see my list. I've been playing very very little games, so in fact, it might be better if I just go first, if you don't mind,
Go
because
for it.
I'm going to be done in like 30 seconds. but yeah, I've been traveling a lot and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, work and everything, and so I've played 3 games that I could quickly boot up on my phone while I'm in between airports and things like that. And so I've been playing some Pokemon TCG and continuing, and that had the new update with the new cards, so that was exciting. and I got about I think 60-70%, I think somewhere around of that entire collection so far. So that's been exciting. And then what are the new cards? The something
Ultra Beast.
Ultra Beast. That's what they're called. I was like, I'm going to get this wrong. I'm just going to ask for help instead. So the Ultra Beast, I haven't used any of them yet to see like, any extra, features or whatever they bring. But I've been trying to mostly collect them all. I've not been playing a whole lot of battles and stuff recently, but also makes sense because I haven't had time to play any games. So I'm just like, open it up, open some packs, close it, move on to whatever's next. And then some Clash Royale. Been playing that less and less as well. But the one game I have on my phone that does not require an internet connection is Suika Game, which is where you drop the fruit and you try to make the watermelon and things. So I've been playing quite a bit of that when I'm in between, different things on flights and stuff. So that's about it. I don't even think I booted up Rocket League the last couple weeks at all. So if I did, it was barely. But just because I'm not talking about a lot of games, I wanted to share. Sorry for the audio listeners, but video listener or video viewers, you can see I found these two pins that I had when I was little, and my parents found them, and I grabbed them recently on a recent trip home, and I wanted to show them on the screen. So
Oh,
like an
those are
old
cool.
Mario and Luigi pins that I don't remember when I got them or where I got them, but yeah, I'm glad my parents found them and passed them on to me, along with several other things. But that was a fun little show and tell I wanted to share today, since I didn't have very many games to talk about. Um,
That's awesome.
but yeah, so Barry, what have you been playing?
So last time, I was talking about how I just finished Lunar 2 and getting ready to, and I finished Claire Obscure Expedition 33 as well. So getting ready for the Switch 2. And I didn't want to start anything really big. So I played a lot of games, but they were like smaller stuff. So Pokemon Unite, still playing that. Went back to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reader's Rewind. Wanted to finish that because I barely scratched the surface. So I
Mm,
beat that. That wasn't terribly long. I will say the Megazord levels suck terribly. Bad design. Whoever designed them needs to be fired. Like, cool concept, terrible execution. I got a notification that there was a Sonic event happening in Asphalt, and I haven't booted up Asphalt in forever. And when I last booted up, it was Asphalt 9 Legends, and now it's Asphalt Legends Unite. And I lost everything. So I'm trying to like work my way to get back into to even do the Sonic event. I can't see the Sonic event. I can't do it. And I sent an email to customer service. I'm like, I lost everything in that game. Here's my player ID changed. So
yeah.
I'm like, here's my old player ID. What the hell? And I haven't heard back. So, but my son really loves me watching me play that game. So and I'm back messing around with it. It's a fun game, but it's definitely microtransaction heavy. Uh, as a backer to Sea of Stars, which was an amazing game when I played it, they just put out the new DLC, Throes of the Watchmaker, and they made it free. Free content for everybody. It's post game DLC, so I went and did that, and that was a lot of fun. It was not terribly long, but it's a new area. It doesn't matter whatever you had in the base game, you start from scratch, and I went through it, and cool little story. Just a lot of fun. I forgot how much fun I had in Sea of Stars. It's really good. So
Hmm,
if you haven't played Sea of Stars yet, I do recommend it, and you get the free DLC now. Everyone gets it.
cool.
W- I went back to Melty Blood type Lumina, just getting excited for new Tsukihime this year, and I missed. So it was on sale digitally, and I wanted to buy it. I'm like, yeah, I want to just show some support. I have the physical Japanese, which is how I played it originally. Apparently, that didn't download all the updates because when I downloaded the digital, it had 8 new characters that were added as free characters. So I'm like, oh, now I've got to do story mode in these 8. So I went and did that. It was really cool to see more characters out of that game. What an awesome world, and definitely. not many fighting games are based on visual novels, and I think that's just really cool. That wouldn't even exist. But I had a lot of fun playing through that. And I booted up Star Wars Hunters again. I wanted to boot it up before the season ended just to see what it's like. And the screen, the home screen used to be littered with all this stuff. That's all gone. It's cleaned up. They give you everything. Every character's cosmetics are unlocked. Every character's weapons, all the emotes, everything in the game is unlocked. There's nothing to earn anymore. It's literally like, here's everything, have fun. And I'm just like, why couldn't they just keep this as is? I would gladly pay $10 to
Yeah.
keep that on my Switch and go back into it periodically. And even if it's just against bots, I don't need to play against other people. You have bots built in, easy, medium, and hard difficulty. Let you just play against bots or local people. Even if you take away the local people, just
Sure.
bots. I don't care. I'll pay $10 to keep that game alive and have the access to play it and revisit. I hate these games that go offline forever. It's stupid when you could put an offline mode there. You would still get money. Star Wars is still big. You don't have to add any new content. Just make all the content available like it is. $10, one time fee. Guarantee you will make more money than just shutting it off because you can't even give money now. So you're
Right.
making zero at this point. You can't make any money. You're not making no more money. $10, one sale. And I promise you, I guarantee you that one sale, I will do it, is now making you more money than you would be making otherwise. I
Hmm.
don't know why. I don't know if it's a license thing or what, but it really pisses me off. And then I talked about it last time. I played Starlight Legacy, which is a game that I'll be doing a review on. But I did two more games that I'm going to be doing reviews on. A game called Power Sync, which is a puzzle platformer, and a game called Old Skies, which is a really cool sci-fi point-and-click adventure game involving time travel, and very, very cleverly done. So I'm excited to talk about that. So stay tuned for my reviews, but I do say check them out. Going back to unfinished stuff on PS5, I went back to Astro Bot. They added 5 new levels. I say new, but it was about 2 months ago. They added 5 more speedrunner type levels with 5 more bots to rescue. So I went and I did those. I had to reinstall the game too because I had uninstalled it. But I'm like, no, I just want to go do it. Like I'm just doing cleanup now. Like these are little things I never went and did. Let me go do it. It's not going to take me a long time. Because a lot of my time was spent on the PC these past few weeks. Because Final Fantasy 14 had a big update.
Hmm.
7.25 came out last week, added brand new content, new relic weapon that I got. A lot of fun new content that was just added. So I've been spending a lot of time there, just farming that. And any 14 player knows that some of the new content you have to spend time. But I wanted to get to myself to a point where if I don't play it as much going forward with the Switch 2, I'm ready for 7.3. And I feel we did, the story's done. Like I feel I'm good at least till 7.3, but I'll still be messing around with it. And then on mobile, Mario Kart Tour and Pokemon TCG Pocket, as well as New York Times, the New York Times games Wordle and Connections. And I've been playing a lot of LinkedIn games still. I really enjoy the LinkedIn games. I think a lot of people don't realize they even have games, but there's 5 games. It takes anywhere from 20 seconds to 5 minutes if it's a really, really tough thing. It doesn't take a lot of your time. It tells you who's played it. It gives you the average so you can see how you stack up against everyone else that plays it. And every day it gives you new games. It's the same games, it's just new challenges of it. And they're just a lot of fun. They're simple, brain teasing games that most people have no idea even exist.
Hmm.
As you can tell by Steve's face, he's like, I have no idea that they even had games there.
On LinkedIn,
LinkedIn, yes.
like the business networking site,
Yes.
LinkedIn has games. Okay.
Yes.
Like the whole
You have
time
the
I'm
app.
thinking maybe I've heard him wrong. Like there's no way
No.
that LinkedIn has games. Okay, I'm gonna
So
have to check this
so
out.
if you go on your phone, for those viewers, you go into My Network, which is the middle one on the bottom, the network, and at the
Hmm.
very top there's games. Stay in touch through daily games, and you can scroll through, and you can even see I've played them today. It says results instead of playing.
Wow.
So yeah, there are 5 challenging brain teasing games, trivia and little puzzles that you could play every day for free on LinkedIn.
All right then. Wow. I had no idea.
See, now you got to try it.
I do. I've tried the games on YouTube, so I might as well try the games on LinkedIn. The complete opposite end of the spectrum of social media, but yeah,
I got my wife playing, my friends playing. We're comparing times who did it fastest.
I'm gonna have to
It's a
check it
fun
out.
little thing that could you could be done in like 5 minutes or whatever. But it's you had to go to the toilet. Like okay, you know.
Wow. Well, that's something I didn't expect. Uh, but kind of also talking about something I didn't expect. This year I've been trying to just get better in health and time stuff and everything else. And one of the things that's been really helpful is this little bottle. It's been huge. Like it's called Magic Mind. I've been drinking it almost regularly every day for the last like 6 months. I'm gonna drink one right now. And that's all it is. Is you take a shot back of it, and it has all this amazing stuff in there to help you basically have a sharper mind, have lower stress, have this calm energy. And there's a bunch of different types of it as well. You can get like the regular standard one, which is what I got. They have a max, which has extra caffeine. They have one that has zero caffeine. They have the sleep one. They also have gummies now. So there's a bunch of different stuff that Magic Mind has. And if you've been hearing us on this podcast for the last several months, you know how much we enjoy it and how much it's helped us. And so I thought it would be good to just talk about what other people have said as well. We've encouraged you guys to take the 7-day challenge, and some of you have. And so I wanted to share just some other people and reading off some of their testimonials as well. So a guy named Nate B said, after my second dose, I noticed it 100% eliminates my brain fog and provides me with a nudge of motivation at work. This stuff is amazing at helping me concentrate. And then Brett C says, I've never felt sharper, quicker, or smarter. I take Magic Mind daily and will continue to do so. John W says, I ordered Magic Mind, curious if it would deliver on everything advertised, and it did. I definitely noticed increased focus, no caffeine crash, and the calm energy. Love it. Thank you. Barry, I know you got some others. You want to share what other people are talking about too?
Yeah, so Matt Moenweg, who is the founder of WordPress, said, incorporating Magic Mind into my daily routine became a ritual that fuels my productivity and creativity. Koa Rothman, who is a professional surfer, said, Magic Mind helps me lock into a focused state that I need to be in whether I'm surfing the pipe or I'm working on my next big project. Biz Stone, who's the co-founder of Twitter, said Magic Mind is motivation in a bottle for me. It's hands down the best tool for helping me get into a deep creative flow state. Justin Kahn, who is the founder of Twitch, said my favorite product discovery, energy, motivation, and flow all in one shot. And you know what? I couldn't agree more. Like ever since I started taking Magic Mind, I've been so much more productive. I'm a procrastinator by nature. I am lazy. I will be the first to admit it. And this gets me off my butt. It gets me doing things so much quicker. It has me keeping up with my child, which I never thought I would be able to do that, and it's amazing. It has become a daily routine of mine, and I couldn't recommend it enough.
Mm, yeah, yeah, and I think as I mentioned earlier, I've been trying to get a lot more healthy this year and trying to take a lot of vitamins and all that stuff. And this has got all of my daily vitamin C, vitamin D, all those things, a bunch of other nutrients that really help in so many different ways, way beyond just the brain fog and everything else. I just feel healthier, and I think Magic Mind is partly responsible for that. So we want to again offer you at a fantastic deal that Magic Mind has offered us, and we're passing it on to you guys. They are so confident in this product as well that you can try it for 100 days for free. So head over to magicmind.com/NF20 for NintendoFuse. So NF20, and you're going to be able to save up to 48% off your first subscription. That's 48% off your first subscription. Or you can use the code NF20 at checkout, and you're going to be able to save up to 20% off a one-time purchase. So depending on if you want to subscribe or if you just want to check it out one time, that's going to save you from 20% all the way up to 48%. And again, they're so confident that you can try it out for 100 days and then get your money back if you don't like it. So thank you so much, Magic Mind, for sponsoring this episode of the NintendoFuse podcast. And be sure to head over to magicmind.com/NF20 and check it out yourself. Well, Barry, let's jump into some headlines. We got a few things going on, not nearly as many headlines as you guys had last week. But we got a few things that are going on here on the eve of the Nintendo Switch 2 release. So how about we kick it off with some Nintendo music?
Yeah, so normally Greg does this, but for those of you that have really been enjoying the Nintendo Music app, a couple more updates that have happened. As of May 26th, the soundtrack for Splatoon 1 has been added. And as of June 2nd, that's yesterday, the soundtrack for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has been added. And that's like well over 100 tracks, and that also even includes the trailer tracks, which are not even in the game, which is really cool to see.
Nice. Well, I pulled up the wrong thing here. Hey, Nintendo Switch 2 has been updated to version 20.1.1. And you may be wondering, what in the world would they be updating? Well, it's not stability. It's actually fixes an issue where apparently some software could not be loaded after the 20.1.0 update. But if that was you, rest assured you can now update to 20.1.1, and that software should load just fine.
And for we talked about it last time, the Indie Quest JRPG showcase that happened on May 29th, and Greg and I talked about it last time that it was happening. So I just wanted to run through what was announced. It was 40 games. I'm just going to go through these quickly. Uh, I will say, if you're a JRPG fan, I highly recommend you check out this stream. You check out these games. Some of them I have a very personal connection with, but I did want to just bring these up. So if you're not a JRPG fan, you should be. But if you're not, check out these games. Many of these are coming to the Switch, and those that aren't are PC only at the moment, and will most likely come to the Switch after, or Switch 2. Who knows? So Alterium Shift, there's a demo out now. Artist Impact is coming August 7th. Astra Media is coming this year. Karen Mothar's Curse is coming this year. Class 07, Colossus Eternal Blight. Cricket Joe's really peculiar game. That game is actually out right now and is awesome. And I'm not just saying that because my company publishes it. Cyber Threat, Dark Deity 2, Death Tower, which has a Kickstarter and a demo coming out. Disc Creatures World coming next year. Double Dungeon, which is coming Q4 of this year. Dome RPG Dreamed Away is coming later this year. Echoes of the Stars is coming later this year. Escape from Ever After. Eternal Remnant, the first chapter, is coming this year. Forge of the Fae. I love that game. Personal thing. Dennis is awesome. Check out that game. Gales of Nail or Naily is coming June 23rd. Geomythica, another one I'm very personal about. Godshard Chronicles. Absolutely check out that. Elman's an amazing guy, and Lunar and Grandia fans will really appreciate that one. Guard Break, Kingdoms of the Dump, which is funny. So you play like a trash can. Last Moon, Light Fairy Episode 3, Legends of Starcadia, Luminous Night, Maliki Poison of the Past, My Familiar, Nocturne, Oddventure, Project BS. I'm just trying to go through these because these are so many good games. Quartet, Rising Spire, Robot Rhapsody, Runa, a game I mentioned, Sea of Stars, Thrones of the Watchmaker was shown off, Seeds of Nostalgia, Syria World, Shrines Legacy, Spaceman Memories, Starlight Legacy, a game that I just played and I can tell you is worth it, Tactics Returners, Tako no Himitsu, Ocean of Secrets, I'm glad I got that instead of Steve.
Hmm.
The Backworld, The Girl Who Kicked a Rabbit, The Time I Have Left, Those Who Rule, To the Grave, You Are Not Bunny Girl, Zera's Adventure, and there's one more I purposely skipped, which is a game that they showed off at the very end, which is a brand new reveal called Infinite Alliance, which is coming next year. It's launching free on all platforms. It's done by the developers of 8-Bit Adventures 2, and it is a giant crossover RPG with a bunch of characters from Chained Echoes, Quartet, Jack Move, 8-Bit Adventures 2, Beloved Rapture, and many more. There's going to be up to 9 unique heroes. It's just going to be this wonderful adventure, and they're going to do DLC, add-on DLC, and all the money from that is actually going to charity, which is just a really, really cool thing to do. So if you love these other RPGs, you got a nice crossover, but there was a lot shown off in this, and the future is bright for indie RPGs or JRPGs on the Switch, definitely.
And finally, for headlines, Nvidia CEO says that Switch 2 has the most advanced graphics ever in a mobile device. Nintendo posted this on their YouTube channel earlier today on June 3rd, and you can check it out if you want to. It's a short little video, but the CEO of Nvidia talked about his experience with Satoru Iwata and how the original Switch idea came along, and it was cool to hear his point of view from that. He was really excited, but then he also talks about the hardware behind the Nintendo Switch 2 and how excited they are from Nvidia to be partnering again with Nintendo, and again that this has the most advanced graphics ever in a mobile device. So not a lot you hear. Not a lot of times you hear that kind of talk from something Nintendo is putting out. So they're really going after the graphical power this time in partnership with Nvidia. So let's talk about these quick headlines before we jump into some more discussion. Barry, anything stand out to you from these?
I did the update. The Switch update's kind of a nothing burger for the most part. It's not going to affect the most people. I still don't do the music app that much, but I do love that they included like the trailer music for Zelda. I think that's really cool. A lot of times, that's lost in the shuffle. So it's cool that they actually put like the E3 trailers and Nintendo Direct trailers and stuff like that in there. The the Nvidia, I'm glad that they're working together. I'm glad that they're speaking highly of Nintendo. I hope the partnership lasts and keeps going. Keep giving the most powerful chips. That's what I say. Keep doing the most powerful. And as for the Indie JRPG showcase, it was awesome. I watched the entire thing. Not every game may be my type of JRPG, but there was so much there, even personal concessions aside, that there's going to be something for someone to play. And two of the games are ones I legit just played over the past couple weeks: Starlight Legacy and the Sea of Stars DLC. um, it's just an awesome time to be a fan, and it's great to see, while so many big AAA companies are doing all these extra stuff, like the indie developers are bringing it back to the roots. They're putting out the content, so there's tons to play, and
Mm,
give love to these devs. These are small teams of just a few people, handful of people. They're not billionaires and all this. They're putting their love, sweat, and tears into these games.
mm, yeah. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the video. I didn't hardly play any video games, so let alone watch any games or videos about more video games. But just even looking at these screenshots, some of these look really, really good, and
Oh yeah.
I'm continually impressed by indie developers, like people that are just slaving away passion projects and not have some gigantic team of people that are working on all these individual things. They're just slaving away, and it's amazing what they're able to put out nowadays. And some of these are like, I don't know specific about these, but some of them are like one or two band teams. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy how good of games they're able to put out. So yeah, I'll
Yeah,
have
a
to
lot of
check
them
some of
are.
these. I'll just check some of
There's
these
a
out
lot of
and
demos
yeah.
out, to check out. And like I said, a lot of them are already confirmed for the Switch, and a lot of them, that are Steam only. A lot of times they'll be picked up by a publisher, or once it picks up, Steam, no pun intended, on Steam, it'll move over.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check out the video and maybe check out some of these demos as well. Yeah, I Barry and I, you were we were talking earlier before we started recording that I just turned on my Switch for the first time in like 3 weeks, and so I have not updated firmware. I don't even know if I updated to 20.1.0, so I may have just totally missed out on that, which sounds like a good thing. Maybe I couldn't have updated or started some of my games if I had. So
But
um,
but you didn't play, so by that means you also didn't start up
doesn't
those
really
games
matter.
either.
Yeah, doesn't really matter. Uh, and and yeah, the music updates are always cool. I'm with you. Like I barely turn it on, but when I do, it's really cool to always see new music there and being able to listen to it and all that stuff from Tears of the Kingdom sounds fantastic. Um, and then Nvidia stuff, yeah, I'm right with you. Let's just keep popping out some good, great graphics. Um, that's exciting. So yeah, that's really all we have for headlines this week. And next, we thought it'd be great to have kind of two main discussions this time. So we're gonna first jump into a shorter main discussion all around the Summer Game Fest, which Barry, it starts this week. Actually, officially started
Yep.
today.
Hey.
The official is a couple days away, but the unofficial stuff started today. So yeah, we got the State of Unreal from yeah, what's I'm blanking on it. It's Epic and
Yeah.
Unreal kind of came together and did this event that happened today, and so we got to see a bunch of different things that they've been working on, especially with their AI and integration into developing and how Unreal is going to use AI moving forward. We also have the Sony State of Play that's going to be tomorrow on June 4th, and then the official kickoff for the Summer Game Fest starts on June 6th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And they're going to have all the interviews and gameplay that's always shown from Summer Game Fest. But we're also going to get to see the Day of the Devs, Devolver Digital Showcase, which is always exciting, the Wholesome Direct, women-led games, Latin American Games Showcase, Southeast Asian Games Showcase, Green Games, Frosty Games, Xbox Games Showcase, which at this point could be focusing a whole lot on Nintendo because Xbox is definitely not focused solely on themselves anymore. That's also going to be kind of a dual showcase there because they're going to have the Outer Worlds 2 direct as well, right? Kind of back to back with that. And then PC Gaming Show, a Death Stranding 2 demo, and then Black Voices in Gaming is going to wrap it up on June 9th. So you can find that full schedule at summergamefest.com/events. But Barry, anything stand out that you're like really excited to see for Summer Game Fest this year? Because we don't have E3 anymore. This has kind of
Yeah.
replaced it. Not
This
exactly, but kind of replaced it. So what's standing out to you?
this is as close as we're getting. So a couple things. One, Nintendo is shown as a sponsor, and it's interesting that those rumors about a direct, and it would be kind of
Mhm.
cool to see a Nintendo Direct pop up in the schedule. But there's not one. No, he's not
Mm-mm.
yet. So the state of play was literally just announced earlier today.
It's true.
So who knows what's going to be shown off. No, the other thing that is really interesting is that for the first time in a long time, there will not be an Ubisoft Forward.
Oh, that's
There were
true.
usually there's a digital or in-person showcase, but this time there's not this June. Ubisoft will have a presence in IGN Live, which is June 7th to 8th, and in the PC Gaming Show on June 8th. And they will be at Gamescom but they will not be there. So do you see that Nintendo Switch 2 logo right there?
Yeah, right over on the side
And, and,
there.
and and look, two more logos right after that.
Hmm. What's
PM
that right there?
Studios
Hmm.
is there.
Nice.
So I'm proud to be sponsored and working with Summer Game Fest. But it's crazy that they're not there. But the showcases are wonderful, and I love E3. I've always loved E3. It's been my favorite season of the year ever since it came out, and I would read the magazine articles about it. And it's so sad that E3 is no more, at least not for the foreseeable future. And I know Jeff is doing the best he can to recreate that with Summer Game Fest, and I mean he's doing the best job he can. And it's not as magical for me. This feels like something's missing out of it, like a little bit of a soul. But at the same time, just these showcases, there's so many games. Like we used to do the E3 was the big three, whether it be Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo, Sony, Sega, and then you would have the big three uh, third parties. You would have Ubisoft, you would have EA, Konami was there,
Hmm.
and then slowly they started to dwindle down into less and less, and now you have all these showcases with so many games with the rise of indie, which is fantastic. There's so many games, it's impossible to play them all. So it's wild to me when I see people getting angry, like so and so game exists, or oh this didn't meet my expectations. Then move on. there's
Hmm.
there's so many. I have a backlog of probably close to a good 10,000 plus games that I want to play. I will never play them in my lifetime, ever. I'll never be able to play them all. And there's still this many more coming out. And keep in mind, this is the Switch 2 launch time. So all this is happening at the Switch 2 launch. How many Switch 2 stuff are we going to see?
Mm.
It didn't show Nintendo's logo. It specifically showed Switch 2's logo. There could be some really good reveals here. Who knows? Summer Game Fest, instead of a Nintendo Direct, maybe Nintendo said we'll put this in the Summer Game Fest showcase or something. We don't know. There could be nothing, but there could be something. It's Schrodinger's Nintendo reveal at this point. It both happened and didn't happen at Summer Game Fest. We won't know until Summer Game Fest is over. But at least this is better than nothing.
Mhm.
And I'm happy that all of these devs get an avenue um to put something out there and to get that spotlight. And I hope if you're even remotely interested in any of these showcases, you give them the time of day, because the more people that watch, honestly, the more ad revenue they get so that they can keep doing summer game fests. Because it does cost money to put these together and organize all this. And we all get to watch for free. Obviously, it's a giant commercial, anyways,
Mhm.
but it's still one of those things where at least it's keeping the spirit of E3 alive in some regards.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love how, like, over the years, I think they started this maybe last year, or last year was the first year it really grabbed my attention. That instead of just publishers that are there, there's also these, and maybe they're also publishers too, but they focus on different demographics. And so we've got a showcase that's all about women led games, like, which is awesome to highlight them, and black voices in games, which is awesome, but also getting ones that are like the Latin American games world is being showcased, and the Southeast Asian world of games is being showcased, and the Frosty games are a bunch of people from Australia, so that's being focused on. So it's so cool to be able to see like these different voices from different parts of the world that maybe we would normally even hear from, or maybe overlooked for various reasons, but we actually get to highlight them in the middle of Summer Game Fest, which is really cool. And I think not and I like not only seeing the games that they have, but a lot of times, hearing from those developers and hearing them talk about these passion projects that they've been able to pour their lives into, and see how excited they are to be featured on this kind of a stage is just really cool.
Yeah, we think of video games, they both Japan and America comes to mind as like really the heart of the origins of development of games, like the real dominant developers came from those two countries. And Europe started to get in there, and so with Canada and stuff like that. But it's exploded at this point. So many people have grown up playing video games. It's no longer a new thing for just for kids. I mean, when kids, us, we grew up with it, and many of us wanted to make our own games. Some of us were talented enough, and some of us were not. I'm not. But
Yeah.
the to see this, and for what I've done, both a premium and PM, talking to some of these developers from other countries, it's fascinating because they've completely different outlook on things. They have different experiences. Their lives were completely different than anything we know, and they bring that and their own flavor to games. And it's so awesome to see and experience their humor, their quirkiness, their love. Their It's just wild.
Mm.
And I know some of the games that we did, Lonesome Village Premium, and that was a Mexican developers, and there are not a lot of Mexican developers, and they're a small team, and their Kickstarter was success, and they were really appreciative, and they're so sweet, like just wonderful team to work with, and their game's fantastic, and we
Mm.
you know we published it, and it was awesome to get to do that, to work with a Mexican team, because there's just not a lot of that out there in the gaming industry, and it's great to let places like this give them their voice.
Mhm.
And if you say, "Oh, you know what? I only like games from Japan," that's fine too. I only like games from America. That's fine. There's no one forcing you to watch any of these. But for these developers, these are not CEOs making quadrillion dollars. These are people just like you and I that are living, maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck, or they take all their expendable income and they're putting it into their own game development. And now they're getting new eyes on
Mm.
their passion project, their love. And you can't put a price on that. That is
Yeah.
incredible. And I hope they get all the eyes they want. I hope it leads to success for them and their dreams come true, because truly it's just wonderful. It's a good
Yeah.
time to be in the gaming industry in that regards.
Totally. And I think one of the things that I've grown to really appreciate too, and you when you have people from different backgrounds and different cultures than you and I mean, we can experience a little bit of what they're going through when if they make a movie or they write a book. But there's just something about the video game medium that allows you to step in their shoes just a little bit more in that way and kind of see life from their perspective just a little bit more with an interactive media like video games. And I think that's one of the really cool things that I've been able to experience as well, and I really appreciate being able to play some of those games from these developers all around the world in completely different cultures than I'm from. Basement Dweller is in the chat and saying hello, and says doing pretty well, and just put my Switch back in its original box and prepped my shelves. Guess I'm getting ready for Switch 2. Speaking of Switch 2, where do you think? I mean, we don't know, of course, but where, as we look at the list of what's going to happen for Summer Game Fest, anything stand out to you, Barry, that you're like, I have a pretty good feeling we're going to see some Switch 2 content in these specific showcases?
The state of play. PlayStation state of nah.
Xbox
Truly,
for sure, probably. Yeah.
my biggest guess, and this is just a guess, is it going to be in the proper Summer Game Fest showcase on June 6th, the
Hmm.
kickoff, the real kickoff, is my guess. The reason I do that is because that's the one that Jeff hosts.
Yeah.
That's his E3. That's like the Game Awards, but without the awards, is what
Hmm.
it is. It's the Game Awards without the awards. Oh, those pesky awards aren't getting in front of my
That's
commercials
right.
anymore. So the fact that there's a Switch 2 logo specifically. Now, if you've watched Summer Game Fest before in the past, you'll notice a distinct lack of Nintendo.
Hmm.
Like, there's usually games PC, PlayStation, Xbox. PC, PlayStation, Xbox. A lot of high-end graphics, a lot of AAA stuff. The indie stuff doesn't go in Summer Game Fest often. That's what Day of the Devs is for. That's what some collect direct is for and stuff like that. So I think we're gonna see some Switch 2 stuff. Yeah, I think there'll be multi-platform. I don't know if we'll see any Switch 2 exclusives, but I know there was a rumor of a Nintendo Direct this week. I highly doubt it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I highly doubt it. Um, we already had a Switch. We had 3 directs back to back. Um, I think we're good with directs until September. I think if Nintendo was going to do a June direct or a July direct, they probably would have acknowledged it by now. But they're launching a console, and that kind of takes it out of them. So if they have anything, maybe a game for July. I know they have Donkey Kong, a game for the Switch one for July, maybe August. Something that they want to throw out there. I think it will be put into that showcase because that's like the headliner showcase.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah, I think a lot of these other ones are going to feature Switch games. I think for sure.
Oh, for sure.
But because that's a indie developers playground right now on Switch, and bringing all these games that maybe have been on Steam and now they're bringing them over to Switch, which is going to be playable, of course, on Switch too. But yeah, I'm right there with you. June 6th. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Definitely check out that official opening for Summer Game Fest, and we'll see what happens. I'm expecting something big from Nintendo, because yeah, like you said, why would they specifically, number one, be featured as a partner, and then as they're featured as a partner, force the, like, we're not even going to put the Nintendo logo up there, we're putting the Switch 2 logo up there. That tells me something's going to be shown off there. I don't know what, but they're going to feature Switch 2 in some way.
Oh, I completely agree. That was deliberate to not show Nintendo or to show the Switch logo, to specifically put the Switch 2 logo.
Yeah,
I do think something is happening.
yeah. And speaking of compatible games, like with the Switch One, maybe games we'll see. Basement Dwellers, yeah, planning on trading off his Switch, because most of the games that I guess he's been playing will also be playable on Switch too. And so, yeah, I'm gonna be keeping my Switch as well. You're gonna be keeping yours and keep it hooked up, Barry.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have my Switch 2 next to the one, because the the Switch 2 space, the storage space, is so small, and the max you could get is the 1 terabyte card, which I have. The Switch One max you can get is 2 terabyte, and I can't fit all my digital games on there, let alone my physical. And with so many games on the Switch 2, A being more graphical, so they're bigger, and two, so many of them are not truly physical. They're the game key cards.
Yeah,
I'm not buying game key cards. So if there's a game I want that's only game key card, I'll be buying it digital. So at that point, I'm gonna need that space. So unless the game has something like an actual Switch 2 upgrade, like a true Switch 2 upgrade, I was still going to be playing Switch One games. There's a ton of Switch One games I haven't touched, so I still want to go back and play them in between whatever new releases are out there. Plus, I've got a lot of stuff, like I got the Jackbox games for parties and stuff like that. Why should I move those games to take up that precious space on the Switch 2 when they play just fine on the Switch 1? They don't need the graphical power of the Switch 1 to play Jackbox. So I'm gonna leave that stuff hooked up. And then as well, being part of my job, I do test games. So some games are not on the Switch 2; they're only on the Switch 1. Or if we're releasing a game, it may only be released on the Switch 1. So I need to be able to test, make sure it's working, make sure it's booting up, or if it's a game you want to sign, test it out. So I need to keep the Switch One still hooked up for multiple reasons.
got it. Got it. And just to clarify, Basement Dweller did say he's keeping his Switch. It'd just be moved in with the previous gen consoles. He's apparently got 13 different consoles hooked up all at once.
Uh,
That's crazy. I thought about that here in my home office. That was my plan originally. I was gonna get one of those cube kind of like stands for my TV and have them all in there, like some people have. And I realized it was like, that's going to be so many cables and so many different things that it'd just be a nightmare. And so I just have the Wii U, Switch, and my Xbox hooked up there, and that was it. And really, all I play on there is my Switch and Xbox, because the retro games that I want to play are on the on the Switch on the NSO already, and so there's very few games that I only have on cartridge, and even that I'd want like an old TV that I don't have to play those games on, like an old CRT TV. They're just going to look like bad on the HD 4K TV that I have, just because the way it stretches and everything. So if I can find the right adapters to start with, so yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that too. Like I've still been toying around hooking up a bunch of systems down here. I used to have a bunch hooked up, especially growing up. I had switchers upon switchers. But as you grow up, it's funny because you have more money to buy more games, but you have less time to play said games. And, there's so many games out already now. Like no more new games could come out and I could be stuck with just the Switch. Just the Switch. And I would not be able to play everything I want to play before I die. Just the Switch. So it's crazy that it's like I don't have the time to go back to that. And it really depends on how interested my son is in that, and most likely he's going to be like, I don't care, I'm just fine with Roblox, like Greg's daughter,
Yep.
and that'll be just give me Minecraft and Roblox, that's it, Dad, I don't care about anything else. Be like, oh my
That's
God,
right.
who you are not my son.
Hey, I downloaded Roblox the other day on my phone. I haven't played it, but I actually downloaded it mostly because Greg keeps talking about it. I'm like, maybe I should actually play this thing. So I have
Oh,
it
not
downloaded.
you too.
That's as far as I got. So let's switch our attention to the Switch One. As we're, like we said a couple times already, we are here on the eve of almost the eve of the Nintendo Switch 2 launch. We're recording this, of course, on June 3rd. In just a couple days, we're going to get actually, it is, I guess, technically tomorrow. Speaking for me, I get it at 10 o'clock p.m. Because it's midnight Eastern time. So officially, I can get my Switch 2 on June 4th. And so I'm hopefully going to be swinging by GameStop. My the timing is horrible. So Pod Meets World, which is the Boy Meets World like rewatch show with like three of the characters, like they're coming to Denver tomorrow, and the show is at 8 p.m. And I think at least the ticket says that it's an hour-long show. And it takes from downtown about an hour to get back to where I live from downtown Denver. So if everything goes well, I should be able to get back to GameStop right as they open. Hopefully I'll be there before they close for the midnight launch, or the quote unquote midnight launch for me. And I'll be able to go from watching some of my favorite actors from my childhood do like a live, podcast thing, and then going and picking up my Switch 2 and probably not sleeping at all that night because I'll just be playing Mario Kart World all night long. So hopefully that's how it's all going to play out for me. But yeah, Barry, what's your plans before we jump into Switch 1 talk?
So my Target order says June 11th at this point. My Walmart says June 6th. They're both shipping. My Best Buy is an in-store pickup, but my store is not doing a midnight launch.
Oh no.
So the plan is uh Thursday morning after we drop off our son to daycare. My wife is going to Best Buy because she's the one who placed the order. I'm going to go to GameStop to see if I can get one of the ones that they have not claimed and see what happens. And if we wind up with two systems, then I'll see if one of my friends wants one or return it. But that way, at least I get it because I still, even with a pre-order at Best Buy, I don't trust it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if everything goes well, we are planning to do like an immediate live first impressions kind of game chat on this Thursday. So we'll be hoping and praying that Barry actually gets his Switch 2 so he can join us in on that. If not, you just be like jealous of this whole time. So
Yep.
actually you get yours. Hopefully Greg gets his and all goes well. I'll get mine. And we'll have a quick, like first impressions of that. But let's talk Switch One, because it's been 7 years, 8 years.
8 years.
8 years since the Switch One launch, and I remember us talking on the podcast, like what was that experience like getting it and everything. I believe I ended up with a couple different pre-orders that first time as well, if I remember correctly, and ended up helping a friend who I was actually talking to just the other day, and he reminded me that I sold him my extra Switch One when I got that, and I had completely forgot. But I was like, oh yeah, I did end up getting like 2 or 3 different pre-orders, same sort of deal, because I was like, I just wanted to make sure, and ended up getting that extra one, and he didn't have one, and so I was able to allow him to buy that off of me, and he had one. He just got rid of it. And he
Aw.
told me, he's like, yeah, mostly because he's a really big Madden fan, and so he's like, yeah, I sold it and bought an Xbox instead. I was like, well, and the Switch 2 is going to have Madden now. He's like, no way. But he's happy with his Xbox. But yeah, that was kind of like the original memory of playing that and actually getting to experience it. Another memory that I had when it comes to like when they showed it off, I loved the initial trailer and everything they showed off, but also how they went to like the Tonight Show and had Jimmy Fallon playing it, and Jimmy Fallon just like so excited about everything. And that was just a really, really cool way that they went about showing off the Switch and making it really exciting. So yeah, Barry, any memories from having your Switch kind of stand out?
Yeah, I remember getting 2 of them at launch. I had them delivered. I think it was like Best Buy. It was Best Buy and Amazon, because back then Nintendo did stuff with Amazon. And I got the Breath of the Wild Big Box Master Edition
Yeah.
delivered, and I got 1-2 Switch, and I got Super Bomberman R,
Mm-hmm.
and I got these little like rubber like controller holders for the Joy-Cons so that you can play horizontally and they'll be a little more comfortable. And those are still in the very same box from launch day because I never used them.
Did you even open it?
No, no, I never used them. They're still in the box. And I remember I took a picture and I was so excited. And I booted it up and Breath of the Wild to play, and then we also got a code for I Am Setsuna for us to review. So I had
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm like, oh god, Breath of the Wild, and an RPG, and a new Bomberman, and then this 1-2 Switch. But I remember saying to my wife, I said, Do you want it? We got it. Do you want one? Nah, I'm okay. You sure? I'm okay. So I returned it to Best Buy. I went and I returned it in person, and it was pretty much like, oh man, you're returning this? Like, this is going to be sold in an instant. And it probably was. And I probably made some kid's day, which is great, but it was awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, I was looking back again before we started recording, and I just booted up my Switch again. Haven't booted up in like 3 weeks or more, and just looking over some of the most played games. I mean, Rocket League is at top. Probably no surprise to anyone. But really, when Rocket League came to Switch is when I really really got into it, because I'd played a little bit of it on PlayStation, but I wasn't really able to get into it a lot. I don't know if I can't remember if I didn't have a PlayStation at that point or whatever it was, but when it came to Switch, it was like, oh my gosh, I can have this and I can take it on the go. That was, of course, the biggest thing of this, and so I put way, 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 way too many hours into Rocket League on Switch, and it's the inferior system to play it on. It's not the greatest experience, but I didn't care. I played so much of it, and then I remember. I mean, of course, this is not a big surprise, but my second most played game is Animal Crossing.
Mm.
Like 2020, Animal Crossing was just a huge answer to a lot of people's prayers, like to be able to have this game that just hit right at the right time. Games like that. Of course, I played Tears of the Kingdom. But would you be Take a guess, Barry, what number 4 is for me. Any ideas at all? This one surprised me. It was a game that I never
Um,
thought I'd be able to getting into.
Harmony.
Oh, that's a good guess, but and that's near the top. But no, it's Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
Oh,
I
nice.
played the heck out of that game. It was so much fun, and yeah, never thought I'd see that day as well. Yeah, but others near the top. I mean, Life is Strange: True Colors, the game that got me hooked on Life is Strange, started on True Colors on the Switch, and I mean, I've got other games, of course, Metroid Dread's up there, Ori. Love Ori. Those games are at the top as well. The Hyrule Warriors games. So and and also guess what? Another game that surprised me to see at the top as well. Carl.
Oh
Apparently, I
my God.
played a ton of Carl. Like I didn't
Carl's
realize how many
great.
hours I put into Carl, but I
It's
played
a
a
great game.
lot of that game. So yeah, what are some of your favorite Switch games that you really spent maybe a lot of time with, or just really connected with you?
Uh, hmm. I'm gonna say there's a big difference between time and favorite.
Yep.
Like obviously Animal Crossing, I put a crap ton of time. Pokemon Unite, I put a lot of time. Star Wars Hunters, I put in, like 300 hours into. But it's I think my favorite things for the Switch were how many games I truly discovered
Mm,
that I may not have. Because when the Switch came out was when I just started getting into visual novels with the Zero Escape.
mm,
And I played like the Danganronpa afterwards on PlayStation because they weren't on the Switch yet. But I discovered some
mm,
phenomenal RPG or visual novels on the Switch. Games like Will, A Wonderful World, Raging Loop, Tsukahime, um, World World End Syndrome. Just games that just blew me away, and I couldn't believe it that this was now introduced to me because of the Switch.
mm,
And then there were so many indie darlings, especially early on. I Am Setsuna. Like I mentioned, there's Cave Story Plus was an early one, Tiny Barbarian DX, and you got games like Carl, which, and as I got into the Switch was the system I got into the gaming industry. So I it's one of those things where I discovered so many indie games that just blew my mind.
mm.
Whether we did it or someone else did it, didn't matter.
Yeah.
Games like Robot Named Fight,
Mm,
games like Cathedral, which was like my most played game of the year it came out. Like I played like 18 hours in one day. Like I was hooked. Phenotopia Awakening. You have games like what was the great RPG that I played that just it was like an indie. Starlight Legacy is really cool.
mm,
I don't know if I'd put that at the top. Sea of Stars though
mm,
up there. Then you have games like The Letter, which was a visual novel that I did for review. What a game! Like that blew me away. Just so many. Trigger Witch, another indie darling. There's so many. There's so many indie greats. And then you have Nintendo's offerings. I mean, come on.
mhm,
And this was a system that brought back Famicom Detective Club, Endless Ocean, Another Code, Rhythm Heaven now, you know, Tamagotchi Life now,
mhm,
you know, there's just so many. And it gave us the Ubisoft games, like you mentioned, Mario and Rabbids, Starlink. Oh, this, I could give you a top 20 list, top 30 list, top 50 list easily on the Switch, and
yeah.
they'll all be bangers. And I think one of the best things is discovering solo devs.
Mm,
There's a lot of solo devs that are able to get their games on Switch to a new audience, and I think that's fantastic.
yeah. Yeah. just thinking through some of the indie games that just really stand out to me as well. I mean, I remember when we first saw Rashi, and just were blown away by what we saw on the screen. I remember, asking you, "Hey, you think you're gonna get it at a premium?" And you're like, "Oh, that's a pipe dream. Who knows?" And then all of a sudden, you got it.
Got
It
it.
was so cool to see that just play out. I remember, playing a lot of um, what was it? Um, oh, blanking on the game now. Oh, Untitled Goose Game, which is funny. I'm blanking on the title of it. But games like that are just weird and so funny. And I remember playing with my wife, and we just having a blast, just honking at the farmer, and it's just having so much fun with those kind of games. I mean, talking about games that we never would have expected sometimes to grab our attention. Games like Stacklands, like you and I, that was a game
Yes,
like we
that's
had
a good
no
game.
clue that we are gonna enjoy so much, and it was so fun. And other games that are silly and quirky like Dodo Peak. I remember,
That was a
trying
fun
to.
game.
That was just so hilarious. But yeah, there's so many games that are there, and I love that they're still there, and you're gonna be able to play like probably 98, 99% of them on the Switch 2. And so not only is the Switch One not dead yet, and we're not burying it in this episode, but just remembering some of those memories as we head into this next generation for Nintendo's consoles. But also to remind ourselves, like, hey, there's some fantastic games that are still out there, and you can still play them on your Switch One and your Switch 2 moving forward. And it's only going to get better moving forward from here. Speaking of which, I know you and Greg talked about all the games that are getting Switch 2 editions, or they're getting those updates for the Switch 2. So, but is there any Switch 2 editions that haven't been announced yet, that if you had your way, Barry, that you were like, I really hope they offer an enhanced version of this game, or they offer some DLC that makes it even better for a Switch 2 version? Like, what would you like to see that of a Switch 2 or for Switch 1 game that gets a Switch 2 version that has not been announced yet?
You talking simply Nintendo
We don't
or
have to be.
anything?
No. We could, anything's open.
I mean, I know with Nintendo, I always wanted more DLC to Mario Party, and yes, we're getting it with Jamboree. But it's not the DLC I wanted. I'm not saying it's bad DLC. I'm saying I felt like when Super Mario Party. Uh, so to preface this, I feel that Nintendo really needs to go into the evergreen system. Whether they will or not, I don't know. But like the system where you get a game and you just keep getting content added to it, almost like an MMO, but without a subscription. And I feel like Super Mario Party was that perfect entry point. The biggest problem with Super Mario Party was it only had 4 levels, 4 boards. And I felt if they just kept adding to this, adding new mini games, adding new boards, new modes, we could do that. But then no DLC ever came. Superstars came out, and then, Superstars is going to get it. And it feels like Superstars was supposed to get DLC, but it never did. And Jamboree came out because Jamboree had 5 new courses, but then it had 2 returning courses. And I feel like those 2 were supposed to be DLC for Superstars, but it took so long to get them that they said, you know what, we have a new Mario Party. Let's draw attention to that. Let's throw them in there for nostalgia. And now obviously Jamboree is getting DLC, but it's like new game mini games and new modes to take advantage of the Switch 2, which is great. But I would love to see new
Mm,
stages. Hey, how about you pay an extra $10 and you get all the courses from Superstars, and you pay another $10 and you get the 4 courses from Super in there. And now suddenly you've got one Mario Party game with a ton of options, and you got to bring some of those mini games over. And I feel like that would be awesome. Smash Brothers is the same thing.
mm,
I am terrified of Smash 6. I'm terrified because we've seen cut characters before, but do you really need to reinvent the wheel? Like, I'd understand if some third-party characters maybe they can't get the license or whatever and they don't come back.
yeah.
But to cut characters at this point is so silly And I felt the same way with Mario Kart. I felt like the next Mario Kart 10, should have just been Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with new courses.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart World looks fantastic. And they obviously went a different direction. I'm not in charge. I think that's a great direction they're going in. I'm very excited to play it. But I also feel like, could we get the Mario Kart 8 courses in there,
Yeah.
with the DLC, and just let us pick those as well to
Yeah.
race? And the characters that were cut. Again, I don't like cut content. I think if you've given us something, let us keep it, unless it doesn't truly make sense. But a character in Mario Kart, it's a character in Mario Kart. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we've got 8 different versions of Mario and 8 different versions of Peach and 8. You could have just
Yeah.
given us a bunch of new characters.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some of the characters that didn't get there, they're in tour. They could have easily taken them over, just like they took all those costumes.
Right.
So I'd love to see those games get some much needed um, add-ons. But I think at this point, all the games I love on the Switch, they're at that point where it would be better to get a sequel
Hmm.
than to get a Nintendo Switch 2
Hmm.
version. Like the only Switch 2 versions you're going to see are ones that are coming out are the Nintendo ones that they bring, and then the ones that are coming out relative. Like Fantasy Life I just came out on the Switch,
Hmm.
and there's a Nintendo Switch 2 version.
Yeah.
Rune Factory drops on the Switch and the Switch 2 the same day. There's Nintendo Switch 2. You're going to start to see that going forward, where you're going to get one, both.
Totally.
At least for some games. But yeah, it's really tough. I feel like, of all the games I've played, I felt, if I put it down, I felt satisfied
Hmm.
and felt, because what do indies need? Indies run already at a good frame rate. They're not terribly graphical. Star Overdrive could use a little bit of improvement. I think that might be one that could benefit from a Switch 2 update. And you know what? It probably will get a Switch 2 upgrade, because they're getting a PlayStation and an Xbox version of the game that's coming out. So most likely there'll be a Switch 2 upgrade or something for Star
Hmm.
Overdrive. I think, like, Zwanyan Sword 7, the Switch version was a little bit more inferior than the PlayStation version, because the Switch was less powerful. Yes, that could get it. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But could it? Sure. Could it? Would it benefit from? Sure. I think every game would benefit from, but it has to be cost effective, and it has to bring more attention to that game. And do I think that's going to be enough? If it was, it would happen right now, because right now it's like the Switch launch. Right when the Switch launched, there was 5 games physical, and then you had a few digital, and it seemed like it was going to be the Wii U again. Like, there's not going to be a lot here. You could get your game out, and you're not going to have a lot of competition. Switch 2 right now is almost like that. Like, that's a very small launch lineup overall, good launch lineup, and a lot of them are Switch 2 versions of games that are out on other platforms, whether they be Switch 2 versions like Breath of the Wild, or games like Street Fighter 6, which has been out. You know, I played Street Fighter 6 before my son was born. It's 2 years ago. So it's a
Yeah.
two-year-old game at this point. So now would be the time.
Hmm.
I think if you wait till this holiday or next year to bring an old game that's on the Switch 1 and say, hey, now here's the Switch 2 version, I don't think people are going to care. Because if people wanted to play that game, they would have played it. And they still can play it. And the Switch 1 version will play on the Switch 2.
Hmm.
And we already know that the Switch 2, because it has faster RAM and all that, will naturally upgrade games
Yeah.
playing on there. So
Yeah.
I don't see much of a point. I
Yeah.
think that's why Nintendo's doing a lot of those upgrades for free, because there isn't much of a point.
Right. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Yeah, and I really hope they don't, offer all these basic upgrades and charges for it. I really think they need to be free, or maybe included in the NSO membership or something like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see what some of these games are going to, the performance. Like, I mean, like Pokemon, that's going to be a huge one, because the performance was kind of lackluster, and so seeing that on Switch 2, no upgrades necessarily, just being on a faster system is going to make that game better. Honestly, the one game that stood out to me, it's not going to happen. But immediately when I thought of this question, I thought of Marvel versus Capcom 3. Like, I would love to see an enhanced edition of that game with HDR, higher frame rates. All that thing would make that game like so much better because it was fun, but it just it chugged a little bit, and I the whole time I was playing it, I go, this could be better. And of course, the graphical enhancements of the Switch 2 and everything might make the game just a little bit better, but I would love to see a higher frame rate, HDR support, and 4K support for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Or sorry, I said Marvel vs. Capcom 3, didn't I?
Yeah.
I didn't mean that game. I meant Marvel Alliance 3. That's what I was meaning. So Marvel vs. Capcom, sure, that's fantastic. But Marvel Alliance, Ultimate Alliance is what I was talking about. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. That game would, I think, benefit highly from 4K, HDR, higher frame rate, all that stuff would make that game probably go back to the top of my games played list because I enjoyed the first two so much, and I was looking forward to three so much, and I played very little of it because I go, this could be better.
Yeah, I really wanted to like 3. I got it at launch. I played it. I was looking forward to the DLC, and I just kind of got bored of it. Like it just
Yep.
got boring, and I stopped. And I hate that I stopped because it's got a great roster. It's got cool character designs. The DLC is awesome. The characters that are added. It just I got bored, and I
Mm-hmm.
hate that I got bored. I
Yeah.
think I think for me, like I love RPGs, but I'm the kind of person that as a kid, if I got to level all the characters, I was like, oh, I could spend so much time. As an adult, don't make characters not in my party not get experience. All
Mm.
right? Let everyone level up at the same time because I don't have the time to level up 50 characters. Okay? I
Yeah.
just don't. I do
Yeah.
not have the time. And that to me pulls and I think that's one of the reasons I stopped. It's just like, "Oh, it would be really cool if you use this character for this level, but that character's level 1. So
Yeah.
now I got to grind that character up." No, I don't care enough to do it. Don't make me do it. Let every character get the same amount of experience, and that way you can swap on the fly and make them arcadey. Or hear me out. If you're one of those that are listening and you go, well, I like to level all my characters, give us an option. It's kind of like in Pokemon where there's an XP share was an item that you could use, and then you could turn it on. They took it away as an item. They just literally made it an option to let everybody level up together, even if they get a little bit less experience. Fine. It made the games infinitely better for me.
Sure.
Give us an option. Do you want all characters to gain experience or only the active ones? Make it be an option, and then everybody wins.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, as we wrap up this Switch One memory lane section, want to go to the chat one more time. Basement Dweller says Switch One really got me into indie games. Nicholas publishing a lot of classic indies made me get into Cave Story, Binding of Isaac, and pushed me into the indie community a lot. And I feel like that's one of the things that stands out to me as we've been talking. Of course, Nintendo is going to put out some fantastic games. I mean, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, top notch. Metroid, Dread, fantastic game. Mario Odyssey, fantastic. Mario Wonder, fantastic. All these games, of course. But then we have this huge, huge list of indie games that we've been able to experience on Switch. So excited to see where that goes moving forward. They're going to be keep adding, I know, Switch One games moving forward, but I'm excited to see also what comes from the Switch 2. So, any final thoughts about the Switch One as we're almost ready to maybe put it into the box like Basement Dweller, or kind of make it our secondary system?
So I do have another feedback that they've posted on Fuse, which is actually the head of PM Studios, Michael, who is a massive collector, he dwarfs me. Said it's coming to an end for me. I can't wait for Switch 2 as I really wanted that upgrade. And then after he saw that, he decided to send me a private message, and he's got the bug. He literally is like, I don't care. I want to buy anything. Like I just can't wait. I want everything Switch too. So he's a complete we got the bug. So I love to see that level of hype. I feed off that hype. I hope everyone out there is excited for the Switch 2. And if you're not, you know what? That's okay too. If you say, I'm not getting a Switch 2 because I've got tens of thousands of Switch 1 games still to play, I feel that. I look at my Switch 1 and I look at the wall of red and I look at the games I have on my Switch that I've got for like $1 and I'm like, I never played that. I should probably play that. But this is coming out and this is coming out and this is coming out. And when am I gonna have the time? So I totally, totally get that. I think I think the Switch one is gonna go down in history as probably the largest comeback ever.
Hmm.
Ever. I mean, the PS4 came back from the PS3, but the PS3 didn't. It was their Sony's least selling platform, but it wasn't a terrible disaster. They did eventually finish in second place if you want to count it as a race, but the Wii U was a disaster. There's no sugarcoating it. The Wii U was a disaster, and we all went into the Switch One thinking the same thing. I got a full set for Switch One because I thought it was going to be the Wii U too. I was like, this is going to be like 300 games. This is going to be easy. Boy, do I hate myself for coming up that because by the time I realized I was in too deep, and and I'll tell you, I don't think anyone expected it. Do I think the Switch 2 is going to surpass the Switch 1? No, I do not. I think it's very hard to surpass a game system that is selling like the Switch. I think you look at the PS3 to the PS2, you know, just nowhere near. Look at the 3DS to the DS, nowhere near. Not saying the Switch 2 is going to be a failure. I think people need to set their expectations. I think people who think the Switch 2 launches in 2 days and the Switch 1 dies, I think if you think that, you haven't been following this industry. The Switch 1 doesn't die in 2 days. The Switch 1 is going to keep going. Nintendo kept the NES alive for 5 years after this Super Nintendo launched. They kept the Game Boy alive for a bit after the GBA alive a bit after the DS.
Mhm.
They stopped doing that for a bit, but even though Nintendo, first off, we know two 2026 games with Fantasy Life and Tamagotchi Eye or Tamagotchi Life, but third parties, indies, they're going to keep that alive. Sony abandoned the Vita after a year or two, and that system still lasted for a while because of indies, and that was just getting indies. Now you're getting third parties still. You're going to get Switch versions of stuff. You think it's only going to be Switch 2? The Switch 1 is going to be the number one highest selling system of all time. It's close. That's a huge install base. So with that being such a huge install base, there you go. You pulled up one thing. What is it? 152.12
Mm.
million. It's right
Yep.
behind the DS. So that's 152.12 units out there. That's not saying there's 152 million users because many people have multiple systems, but there's a lot. A lot. It's a huge install base. They're going to want that. They're going to want to capitalize on that.
Yep.
So I think you're going to see the Switch One last. Let's see, it's 20 at least to 2030.
Hmm.
As crazy it is, I say at least because think about this. In 2020, the PS5 launched and the Xbox Series X launched. It is 2025. We're almost 5 years because they launched in November. We're almost 5 years past that. And there's still PS4 games and there's still Xbox One games coming out. It's 5 years post that.
Yep.
So if those systems, which were significantly less successful than the Switch, the PS4 did very well, the Xbox One did not, but they're both less successful than the Switch, are still getting games today, and those games are playable on the PS5 and Series X, then it's safe to assume the Switch 1, which games are playable on the Switch 2, is going to get at least 5 more years of content. Even if it's not from Nintendo proper, third parties are going to be all over it. So the Switch 1 does not die in 2 days. The
Mm.
Switch 1 is going to live for a long time.
Yeah. Yep. I'm right there with you. And I feel like we could see, I mean, maybe depending on how Nintendo handles it, we may even see a little bit of a surge in Switch One sales. If they can't get their hands on
Yep.
a Switch 2, maybe they'll get a Switch 1. Or my guess is maybe at some point Nintendo might do a little bit of a price drop, at least on the Lite, and that light is going to carry that Switch for another at least 5 years, because that is a simple, basic handheld machine that you can play some amazing library of games on, and that will have a life. Even if the regular Switch 1 dies a little earlier, I think that Switch Lite is going to carry that on forward, because it's going to be the cheaper way to get into that ecosystem and play a ton of amazing games, especially if they drop the price just a little bit.
Yep. And that's something we didn't even touch on with the Switch. The Switch is home to so many classic games. So many games were brought over and brought back. And there's still plenty that are not playable on modern consoles. But besides NSO, which is still playable on the Switch, even with all the systems there, you have so many collections from Mega Man, Contra, Castlevania, Gradius. You've got was it the Irem collections. You've got the Atari collections. You got Tetris. You've got Double Dragon. There's so many that you got RPGs like Lunar and Grandia and Bait and Kato's. You got it's unbelievable how many games. All the Saga games are now on the Switch from Square. All the Final Fantasy pretty much games are there, except for 11, 13, and 14. And proper 15 and 16, I guess. But the 15 mobiles there. You've got so many games that are just coming out. Bubble. The originals. The original the Namco. There's several Namco collections. There's Pac-Man collection with a bunch of Pac-Mans. There's Sonic Origins collection with all the Sonic games. Like all the big franchises, all the Doom games are there. Quake is there. Turok 1, 2, and 3 got remade. All the not all, but most of the Star Wars games, Episode 1 Racer, you Bounty Hunter, they're there. Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, and you got old Icewind Dale, and you have all the old Dungeons and Dragons games. There's so much on the Switch. It's unbelievable, and so many that people probably don't even realize. The other day, I found out there was a game I never expected to see on the Switch. Never expected. I thought it was the only one that remembers. It was a GameCube and an Xbox, I believe, launch title, or if it wasn't launch, it was launch window. Do you remember the game Cell Damage?
No.
Because Cell Damage is on the Switch. Cell Damage was a vehicle combat game like Twisted Metal, but all the characters were cartoony and it was cell shaded. I believe if it wasn't a launch title, it was launch window or so for GameCube and Xbox because they launched together. It was only those two systems, I believe. I don't think it was on PlayStation 2. It might have been. But then they did HD, which
Mm-hmm.
apparently, looking at Wiki, got ported to a bunch of systems. I didn't know, but it's on the Switch, and I was like, "What? This game is on the Switch? Like, what the heck?" Oh, in Europe it got on PS2, but in America it didn't. So January 7th, 2002. But Xbox it was November 15th, 2001. So yeah, launch window. That's launch window
Interesting.
for both systems. I played the hell out of it on GameCube, and I was just browsing. It's on the eShop. Cell Damage is on the Switch?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, Switch really feels like it's not exact. It's not all the way there, but it feels like a museum of video game history in so many ways, which is amazing. I mean, especially if you include the NSO games all in there as well. And like, there's very few games throughout history that you can't play on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I mean, even we did the one, I can't even think of it now, which is done by Digital Eclipse
Mm,
with
yeah.
all the old Commodore and
Yep.
ZX Spectrum or ZX Spectrum games.
Yep.
Lamasoft,
Almost
all
soft.
the
Yep.
the Lamasoft games. You had like we did a review for the first Wizardry game.
Mm-hmm.
You play the classic Wizardry or the remake of it. All the Turtles games. I forgot all the Cowabunga collection. You get all the
Yep.
classic Turtles games on there. Like it's literally our childhood is is brought back. And I guess there's a lot of these collections are on other platforms. They're on PlayStation 4 or Xbox.
Sure.
Absolutely. And that's not to discredit those systems at all because it's great that all these things are on there. But to see this level a resurgence in older games made available with newer features, sure. And then you tack on, like you mentioned, the NSO. You tack on Nintendo. Like, I know a lot of people gave flack for the Wii U ports. Well, let's be real. The Switch has a Switch library, but it also has almost the entire Wii U library. Plus, it's got some great Super Nintendo and Wii games and GameCube games that have had remakes or ports. Games like Mario RPG from Super Nintendo, Mario Sunshine from GameCube, Mario 64 from the N64. You have Paper Mario Thousand Year Door got a remake. Like all these great games that just brought back, and then of course all the Wii U ports, which again now puts them in this Switch like the sphere of architecture, whatever you want to call it, ecosystem. That's now you can bring it to the Switch too, and
Mhm.
I'm presumably Switch 3, etc. So the entire Xenoblade games are there, all
Yeah.
right. Plus Bait and Kados 1 and 2. I mean, that's Monolith Soft right there, outside of Saga and Gears. It's just wild to me to
Mhm.
see some of these games come back. It's like, wait, what? Chrono Cross is back, and the Satellaview Radiant Dreamers. I thought I was the only person in America that actually played that via emulation, but here it is. Radiant Dreamers is back. What? That's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
it's something that it feels like cheating. It's like when people ask me what's your favorite video game soundtrack? I always answer the same answer, and then I apologize for cheating. And the answer is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate,
Yeah.
because it's cheating, because it's got so many great soundtracks from so many
Yep.
different IP. It's cheating, but that's the answer. That is the definitive answer. It's just got
Absolutely.
so many great things. So I feel like, what's the best video game library? I say the Switch, or potentially, if you don't like Nintendo's flair, maybe PlayStation 4 if you're more of a Sony person, because PlayStation did get a lot of these collections as well. But it's just wild. It feels like cheating. It's like, if you take out those collections, I still think the Switch has the best library. But then you throw in all those collections, and it's like, well, duh, because it's got the best games from the NES, and the best games from Super Nintendo, and the best games from
Mhm.
the Genesis, and the Game Boy Advance, and they're all there. Oh, and that's not even touching on Arcade Archives,
Right.
which I totally forgot about, which is like 300 and something arcade games put onto the Switch,
Yeah.
right? And you got all the Neo Geo ones, all the Neo Geo games. You got the Neo Geo Pocket Collection 1 and 2, with the best Neo Geo Pocket games are
Mhm.
on the Switch. Like, it's just astronomical at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you very well could say, "Hey, like I'm going to make my Nintendo Switch the only console I ever buy, and you'll be satisfied the rest of your life."
Rest of your life,
Yeah.
easily. There's so many games, and the sad thing is, there's a lot that are eShop only, and the problem with that is games get delisted. So a lot of these games in the future, you could say, well, that game's no longer part of the eShop. And some games get physical. I wish more did, like the Arcade Archives. There's
Mm.
the Neo Geo collections. There's 6 of them. 4 are out and 2 are coming, which is
Mhm.
great. It's 10 of the games from Neo Geo in each collection. Great to see them put physical. But like I said, there's 300 plus games. I looked at it. I will search, go to eShop right now. Just search Arcade Archives and hit search. That's all you have to do. There are Nintendo games that are not on any other platform, like the
Mm.
Versus Super Mario, like from the Red Tent Versus system.
Yep.
Like 99% of people don't have one, and I'm sure 95% of people or whatever have never even heard of this thing. I had a chance to get one. I didn't get it because they take up room, but they're fantastic units. But the Versus Super Mario Brothers is there. Versus Punch Out is there. The arcade version of Punch Out and Super Punch Out are there.
Yep.
The arcade versions were different than the NES and Super Nintendo versions of Punch Out and Super Punch Out. They're completely different, unique Nintendo games that you might have never played, because they use 2 screens in the arcade, and they simulate that in Arcade Archives. What? That's brand new Punch Out games, if you never played them, on the Switch right now for eight
Yeah.
bucks, and you probably don't even know they're there.
Yeah. It's quite amazing. And yeah, and we're gonna be able to continue to enjoy these. And I'm excited to see where it continues to go. Also excited about Switch 2 for sure. And yeah, I'll be keeping My Switch One, I'm not. I mean, I want to hold on to it anyway, but I'll definitely be holding on to it mostly because there's no way that I can fit all those games on my Switch Two because we don't have the proper memory cards yet to be able to get that, and I don't want to spend $800 on a memory card. But it's
We
not
don't
eight
have we
hundred.
don't have proper memory cards even on the Switch,
No.
right? I don't have I maybe have, I don't know, 10%, 5% maybe of the eShop games I own digitally
Mm.
from everything I've done.
Yep.
And I can't put that on a
Yep.
2 gig to a 2 terabyte card. I can't. I cannot physically do that. It will not fit.
Yep.
You probably can't get every one of those arcade archives. You probably wouldn't be able to put them on a 2 terabyte. Maybe you could. Maybe you get all of them and then that's it. There's so much out there, it's impossible, and that
Yep.
sucks. It really sucks.
Yep.
Like you could have $1 trillion and say I want to buy everything on the eShop, and you can't have it all in your system at one time.
No.
Just
No.
you can't.
No. But the truth is,
All the
yeah.
money.
Like, do we really want all of that on there? I got a bunch of junk that I don't
Maybe
want on my Switch either.
you know what? Sometimes I would look. There's sometimes that junk is hilarious, and sometimes it's
That's
fun,
very true.
and sometimes it's ski sniper and needs to die in like a
There you
fire.
go.
Like, but you know what? I'll have friends over, and I have a lot of that eShop junk. Whether I got it for
Yeah.
free, whether I got it for when I did the playcast, we did the under
Hmm.
$1 challenge, which is how I got ski sniper, or whether I found a collection like browsing the eShop, and it's like 15 or 20 games. Normally, it's like $150. Right now, you can get it for 85 cents. And I'm like, for 85 cents, I'm gonna grab 15 to 20 games. Well, I gotta find entertainment for 85 cents.
Sure.
So I'll have friends over and we'll put up some of those games, and they're absolutely terrible. But we'll laugh at them and we'll have fun. And I'm like, you know what? I got my 85 cents worth.
That's true. Yeah. Well, let's turn our attention, of course, to our final segment of this episode. And before we do that, though, again, if you have not shared what your Switch One memories have been in our live chat, please be sure to do that live, or let us know in our comments. Hop in our Discord, share what your memories and your favorite games are, and what you're looking forward to as well. As this system, like we've said, is far from death. We're just getting the next version, but Switch One is far from death. But let's turn our attention to what's going to happen over the next couple weeks and games that are coming up. And Barry, for the first time ever on this podcast, we've got two different lists. And not the
Mm.
first time ever, but first time in this kind of era of it. We've got a Switch One list and a Switch Two list. So talking about Switch One. As always, we're going to be scrolling these on screen. Switch One games compliments of Metacritic's list. On June 5th, we've got Deltarune and Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. And then on June 16th, we've got Jex Trilogy. I don't know if you remember the Jex games that kind of brought back some memories there when I saw the trilogies coming out. Also, Disneytron Catalyst is coming out, and Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, as well as Date Everything, which I thought, I think we've seen that in a previous showcase or something
Yeah.
like that. And I was like, that's just a funny game. And I just wanted to highlight it. So lots of other Switch games, they're going to be coming out as well. But those are kind of just the ones that stood out to me. Before we move on to the Switch 2 list, which is kind of massive, what any games that are coming out for Switch in the next couple weeks that you're looking forward to, Barry?
Yeah. So for Switch, just Pokemon Unite. Because of everything going on right now, plus other stuff. However, I do have just a weird little thing I had to throw out that this just happened right now.
Ooh.
Um, the Switch 2 upgrades for the Switch 1 games are
Mm-hmm.
live. They went live. And for whatever reason, Nintendo pushed out an update for Super Mario 3D All-Stars for Switch 2, even though it's a delisted game.
Huh.
Maybe that
All
means
right
they're
then.
gonna undelist it and it's gonna come back.
Maybe. Maybe they will do a Switch
I
to enhanced version of it.
I mean, if you have the physical and you pop it in the Switch 2, you get the update. And obviously, if you do own it digitally, you would get the update as well. But it's just weird to think like that would be one of the games they do a special update for and they haven't advertised. But I've just posted now that there's an update
Huh.
for it
Well,
via
alrighty
Wario
then.
64. So take that for what you will.
All right. Yeah, for me, I'm gonna look into the Jex trilogy. I don't know if I'll get it,
Oh yeah.
but I'm gonna look into it because it was a game I completely forgot about, and then all of a sudden, like, oh wait, the trilogy, that's fun. That you could add
Oh yeah.
that to your list that you were talking about Barry earlier, like all
That
these games.
that reminds me, you have Spyro, the Crash, and
Yep.
even what just came out a couple weeks ago was Croc, which was
Mm,
supposed to be a Yoshi game, if you remember. That's from
mm,
Argonaut Software. That was supposed to be a
mm.
Yoshi game. That's now on there. Also, what I got, Ratalaka, I probably butchered that. They put out a lot of older games on the Switch. They just did the Cyber Shockman from the TurboGrafx era, but they also did Aero the Acrobat, 1, 2, and the GBA game, and Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel from the Super Nintendo, if you remember those.
Yeah. Huh.
And then Cubite also does a lot of they have classic IP like Radical Rex they brought back, Tin Head, like games from the Super Nintendo brought back. And then you have other weird games like do you remember Joe and Mac on the
Yeah.
NES? And
Yeah.
there is a brand new Joe and Mac game on the Switch called New Joe and Mac. It's
Hmm.
digital only and it's only a couple bucks usually. Brand new Joe and Mac on the Switch.
Wow. Wow.
There's so much.
Looks like Oki Reps in the chat says the CE box for Pipistrello is massive.
Pipistrello. Yes, it is
Pipistrello.
because it's a
Yeah.
giant plush. Pipistrello is our latest release at PM. It's fantastic,
Uh,
absolutely fantastic. It's what we call a yo-yo vania. It's pretty much like Game Boy Zelda, but instead of using a sword, you use your yo-yo. So think Star Tropics, except you could use it to interact with the environment. Like walls will be slanted, and you could throw your yo-yo at the walls, and it'll bounce off. Or you can fling your yo-yo so hard that it flies off the string and it launches at enemies and
hmm.
stuff like that. It's a full-fledged like 12-hour adventure. It's phenomenal. It just launched and it's done great jobs. But the collector's edition, it's huge. It's like the big plushie, the
Hmm.
giant plushie in there of Pip, and it's beautiful and of course physical. But the game itself is getting great reviews. It's actually I think the eighth or ninth best reviewed game of 2025 thus far in Metacritic.
Wow. All
Yep,
right.
it is
That's cool.
awesome. Yeah, I think it's sitting at an 88. Definitely worth the time. Everyone that plays it loves it. We love it internally. I knew about it before we announced it, but I got to play it and I was blown away. I was like, "Oh my God, I wish I was part of signing this game." So I'm glad you like it. O creeps or O key
Okay,
reps.
Reps. Yeah.
Okay, reps. I hope you enjoy it because it
Maybe
is
it's Oki
fantastic.
Reps. That
You
might
have
be
to
it.
tell us how to
Oki
say it.
Reps.
Oki
Yes,
reps.
please tell us how, because it's been several episodes and I feel like I'm still butchering this. Um, but then he also said Switch One got back into gaming. I'd been out for nearly decades, hadn't really gamed since the OG Xbox, and I played uh,
Agalo. All right.
Agalos and Blossom Tales and was hooked. Nice.
Oh, great games. Yeah. Have you played the Blossom Tales games, Steve?
I'm not. No.
They're Zelda. They're
Oh, okay.
Blossom Tales 1 and 2 on the Switch. They're Zelda, and they're phenomenal. And they're short.
Oh, now
They're
that you're
like maybe
mentioning
maybe
it,
5 to 10 hours tops or so.
I have to
They're
check. I
phenomenal
feel
games.
like I may have one of them, but I don't know if I played much of it. But
Oh, it's so
I'm
good.
as I'm thinking a little bit, I was like, oh, maybe I am familiar with these. But
And
yeah,
Agilos is a 2D action game,
okay.
side scroller. And again, like that's exact. We mentioned so many indies, so many great indies that people should like. Miss those, and they're fantastic games. There's so many on the Switch. It's
Yeah.
uncanny, uncanny.
Okay, so he says it's short for Okeechobee reptiles. So it's
Oh,
Oki
okay.
reps. Yeah. So
Okay, reps.
so not OKE reps, it's Oki reps. Okay. Got it.
Thank you for the
Oki reps.
clarification.
Yes.
Okay,
All
reps.
right, well, let's move on to our second set of upcoming games from the Switch 2. And surprise, surprise, they're all dropping on June 5th alongside the Switch. But Nintendo actually has a pretty decent list up that I could rely on this time. So, again, we'll be scrolling that on the screen. But just a reminder what's coming out on June 5th alongside the Switch 2. We've got Mario Kart World, we've got Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Switch 2 Welcome Tour, Hogwarts Legacy, Split Fiction, Cyberpunk 2077, Street Fighter 6 Years 1 and 2, Bravely Default, Flying Fairy, Fortnite, Deltarune, Civilization 7, Yakuza 0, Hitman World Assassination, Survival Kids, Fast Fusion, Kunitsu Gami, Path of the Goddess, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, Sonic and Shadows Generations, Suikoden 1 and 2, and Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer. So, Barry, which games, of course, other than Mario Kart World, which games are you going to get for your Switch 2?
Yeah, Mario Kart World, of course, and I'm looking forward to Rune Factory as the other big game. The ones I'm getting from launch are those two, and I'll be getting the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and Cyberpunk, and that's because all of those are actual physical releases. The other ones that are coming on launch day are either game key cards, and I don't get those, or Split Fiction, and I think it was Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 maybe,
Mm-hmm.
are code in box.
Yep.
Oh no, Civilization. With Civilization and Split Fiction are actually code in box. They're not even game key cards. They're legit old school code in box. So screw that. If I get a digital game, it'll probably be Fast Fusion for the Switch 2. I'm also toying around because Fantasy Life I came out, and I've been looking for. It was supposed to come out on my birthday last year, and they
Mm-hmm.
moved it, and I would have been playing it, but I just got too close to the Switch 2. I didn't want to start a game like that. That's why I was finishing up all those other ones. But it did get a Japanese physical that I have coming, which does have English. But there's a Switch 2 version, and I do not know if the Japanese physical will take the Switch 2 upgrade. So I might wind up having to get it again digitally and do the Switch 2 upgrade
Mm-hmm.
because I do want to play that game. But I'm going to wait until a sale because I've got other games to play first, or B, I'm ready to play it, and then I'll be like, all right, now I'll grab it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm planning on Mario Kart World, of course, and that'd be the game that I will play the most out of. I'm excited about booting up Fortnite. I mean, it's free, so I want to see how Fortnite runs on the Switch too. Um, Man, I am torn now, and I hate it about Welcome Tour. Like, I really wish it was a pack-in
Yeah,
game, and the more they
I
show it
know.
off,
I'm
the
gonna.
more I go, oh man, I kind of do want to check it out, but the stinking thing should have been free with the system, not $10.
Yes. Or
But
you know what? It should have been. I agree. It should have been a pack-in. I think everyone agrees it should have been a pack-in, universally. I I feel like if they want to charge the $10, they should do something where it's like the first month or two, make it discounted to 5 or something. Like do
sure,
something for launch, or even like the first week. Like because I've seen so many people go, I'm not going to buy it for $10. Those people are not going to buy it for $10. So you've lost the sale, but they might buy it for 5. And if you put a limited thing like only the first week, now maybe I should grab it this first week while it's $5, and you get those impulse buys, and then you at least get those the sales. So I don't know. I'm not in charge of Nintendo. I can only throw my ideas at the wall and watch them not stick because Nintendo
yeah,
doesn't listen to me.
yeah. But
But if
yeah,
it was
like you said,
$5, I would grab it. Like I would personally grab
totally,
it.
yeah, $5. Fast Fusion, yeah, that'd probably be something I pick up. And some of these games, like we've been doing for years with previous systems, we'll get codes from some publishers and developers as well moving forward. So there's some chances that we're already in conversation with some publishers about some of these games. So even if I'm not planning on purchasing one or two, I there's a good chance that we may get some of them, and we'll be able to talk about them in the future as well. So I don't want to mention anything right now because I don't want to promise you guys anything. But some of these
Yeah,
games we're
you know,
gonna
like
be
the
we're gonna be
episode
getting.
where he promised us all Bo, and then he didn't deliver, and I had to
Exactly.
buy the game. I still
We
haven't
don't
played
want a
it, but I had to
repeat of
buy
that.
it.
That's right. But I'm excited about some of the conversations we are having with some publishers and be able to get some of these games and talk about them for you guys as well. And I'm excited as well to try some of these games. I think Split Fiction was one, and I was kind of on the fence about for a while. And should I get it on a different system or whatever? But the fact that it's coming to Switch 2 is really cool, and like that might be the thing that pushes me over the line. So, same with Cyberpunk. I'm like, I don't know, maybe this is the time I finally play Cyberpunk. We'll see.
Yeah,
But
I have Cyberpunk because I got it at launch, just because they had all these problems, and I'm like, well, let me get it now. It's a collector's cake kind of thing. But I actually bought it physical on the Switch too to show my appreciation for them putting it complete. Same with, even if I wasn't gonna play Rune Factory, because I absolutely want to play Rune Factory. It's the Asian one. It looks fantastic. Heard good things about it. It's complete on card. The Switch 2 version is complete on card, and all of Marvelous games are complete on card. And I think that is important to show support to the developers that are going to give us the games complete, because again, the Switch 2 comes with 256 gigabytes internal. You have to buy the SD Express to be able to expand it. And right now, 1 terabyte is the max. But with Switch 2 games, just like Switch, when you put the cartridge in, it plays off of the cartridge instantly. And the only space takes up where that is taken up is any download, like an update, or save data. And save data is small.
mm,
So by supporting the companies that are going to give you the full game on card, you are saving yourself room in the future where you don't have to start deleting stuff and worrying about getting a bigger card. So keep that in mind. All the game keys and digital, it all gonna eat that 256 is gonna go real quick because these games are bigger and take up a lot of room. I think Cyberpunk is like 50 something gig.
oh yeah,
So that right there is a fifth of your internal storage. But if you get the physical, you pop it in, it takes up zero of your storage except for the save data, which is negligible at this point.
yeah, yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Husson just jumped in the chat and he says it's so soon. Yes, yes.
I
So,
know.
um, yeah, can't wait. And yeah, we're gonna be talking about it on Thursday, like we said. If all goes well and we all get our own systems, we'll be able to have a live game chat on Thursday, kind of telling you our first impressions of the Switch 2. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this episode and what we're gonna be mostly talking about with Switch One memories and everything as well. Again, be sure to let us know your thoughts and your plans as well for Switch 2, what you're planning on doing, for getting one right away. Let us know in the comments or on social media or on our Discord as well. Barry, anything big beyond Switch 2 launch coming this week for you? Is that pretty much
Yeah,
it?
work.
Oh, yeah?
Work. So one of the things I do at PM is I do ESRB, long form ESRBs, which are a lot of work. And got another game to do uh, that has been announced, which is Thank Goodness You're Here. So I'll be playing through Thank Goodness You're Here and working on that. And I hope to have as much done as possible so that I could enjoy the Switch 2 when it comes out. So it's on the back of my mind, like you should be doing that, but while you're but thankfully, I work at a video game company where we're all super excited about the Switch too. So that's going to be the main focus. On top of that, my in-laws are coming in. They're coming in starting next week for 3 weeks. So that's gonna be fun playing the Switch 2 with them in the living room.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever. You go do your things. Like, my son's in daycare, so it's that's kind of nice because it lets me play at those times without worrying about like ignoring him. But spending time with him, of course, he's getting bigger and he's talking, and in less than a month at this point, he will be 2 years old. So we have a party planned next weekend. There's a bunch of friends coming over, and a lot of us will be talking Switch 2. In fact, we'll probably all be bringing our Switch 2s and we'll all be sitting there playing them. But
Nice.
yeah, it's exciting times for the most part. A lot of good stuff, and just Switch 2 is the main focus, but work gotta do what I gotta do, and we got a lot of exciting stuff with PM. There's a lot of stuff you'll see at Summer Game Fest that I can't talk about. A lot of new trailers, and we have a packed year. Oh my God, we have so many games coming out that it's ridiculous between all our partners, and a lot of them, like I said, have been announced. We just announced a partnership with Lost in Cult, where you can get their versions of the games on their website. They're really high quality versions, and we're doing the retail versions. And we're working with other publishers as well to bring their games to retail. And some games I never even heard of until this, like Tokyo Psychedemics, which I just played through. Phenomenal game, and I just played through that. But that's not coming to Switch at the moment, but maybe it will. Should be an easy ESRB if it does, because I already played through it. Same with Kong, which just is coming out. Hopefully that goes to Switch too. That was a great game. I really enjoyed it. And there's so many more. Oh my God, there's so much coming. You could
Cool.
replay. I mean, you could replay is coming out, man.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
don't know if you
true.
played the first one.
I can't remember if I did it either. I think I did. I played a lot of those games, but they kind of all run together in my head right now
Yeah,
of which ones I played.
the remake.
They're
We're
good
doing
though.
the remake, and that's so exciting to me because I never got to play it because I kickstarted it. I got my Kickstarter version. I heard, it's not that good, and I didn't want to spoil my memory. But then I was like, oh, now I could do this version instead. And everything I've seen, and I played the demo at Level Up. It's awesome. Oh, I just can't
Cool.
wait for that game.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I've got a weird and much appreciated slightly more downtime over the next couple weeks, which is perfect
Good,
for the
finally.
Switch 2 to kind of come out. And then July's gonna hit and I'll be gone for most of the month. But yeah, I'm excited to be able to actually have some dedicated time to set aside and actually to play some this week. And I'm actually going like Saturday. I'm gonna go whitewater rafting again. So I'll probably
Cool.
bring my Switch 2, maybe playing in the tent the night before, and then go rafting the next day. So yeah, I've got some time where I'm actually gonna be able to enjoy it, which is really nice. Before I
Nice.
hit
You
the
know what
road.
you could be playing, and you should be playing some more AI.
I should be playing more of it. Yeah. Now that I mean, let's be honest, it's not going to happen because Mario Kart World is coming out. But I didn't have hardly any time to play over the last couple of weeks any video games, and now we're on the evening before the Switch 2 comes out. AI is going to take a backseat for Mario Kart World for sure.
See, I should have you should have put a restriction saying you need to beat it before you can play your
Yeah,
Switch 2.
I was totally not going to do that, no matter what you say. Oh boy. But that brings us to the end of this episode. Again, we want to thank Magic Mind for sponsoring this episode. These little bottles, what this one's empty now, but these have been huge in Barry and I's life this year, and we're just so thankful that they were able to send us over some, and so we can check them out and then recommend them to you guys. So yeah, if you would like to take that 7-day challenge that we've been talking about for the last few months, head over to magicmind.com/NF20 to save 48% off your first subscription, or you can save 20% off a one-time purchase if you use the code NF20 at checkout. And yeah, thank you guys so much, Magic Mind, for sponsoring this episode. And thank you all for tuning in for this episode as well. We're going to be back in a couple weeks with the next episode. Again, we record every other Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And we'd love to have you in the live chat as well. And if you listen to this after the fact, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app and share this with other Nintendo gamers in your life too. Be also tuning in for our live stream game chat, first impressions of the Switch 2 on Thursday, June 6th. So we'd love to have you guys there for that as well. So thanks for being here, and we'll catch you next time. And until then, happy gaming, everybody.